our last section of the day, and my favorite, the heroes of today. Road angels spread wings and help our families overseas. Let's get into it. My last thing of the day, I wanted to share two articles. This first one, as you can see, are little packages of food. And these were actually delivered to Japan. This was kind of like a photo of the day. And there's Vietnamese in Japan. And they have the same lockdown that Japan is going through at the moment. So they had a hard time getting food and everything else. And as you recall, I did cover Little Saigon a day or two ago, and I've also covered other things that Vietnam has donated. But I thought this was unique because they donated to the Vietnamese in Japan specifically. So Vietnamese volunteers prepare package of foods and protective masks for the Vietnamese people in need and living in Japan at Nasaku at the temple in Tokyo. So I thought this was nice that, you know what, they realized, hey, we have brothers and sisters that are from our country overseas and we want to help them. We want to show them they are part of our family. So let's keep that in mind. And as you can see, they did get a few comments on this. Without knowing more of the details of this kind, I presume that individual Vietnamese Buddhist donors they approach temples. So again, people help people out, and I like that. But let me get on to the big hero today. This is actual group, and this was the Road Angels want to spread their wings. Hanoi, a Grab driver is hopping to create a huge network of first responders to help injured road crash victims. Okay, last weekend, there was a holiday. It was a Liberation Day for Fall of Saigon Day in Vietnam. And over that weekend, 61 people died in car accidents in Vietnam are very high. Until they eventually transition to cars, motorcycle accidents will be high. But anyway, because motor accidents are so high, that these new people have stepped forward. And so here, let's get into this. Pha Quang Viet has studied first aid and wants to pass on his knowledge to others who work for the streets in the capital to bid to save lives. So look at this guy. Pha Quang Viet is the founder of Angels First Aid Rescue Team. The Angels First Rescue Team. All right. So the 33-year-old who lives in Hanoi, Tran Tran District, knows only too well that it is what it's like to be a helpless victim. 4 years ago, he was injured in the road in an accident in Tuan Quan province. As he lay on the street, conscious and waiting for assistance, many other motorists simply passed him by because they did not want to get involved in someone else's accident. And this kind of reminds me of a few times in Korea, like I was out with a girlfriend, and I guess this one guy, well, girl would not go home with the guy. He taekwondo kicks her in the head. She falls flat on the ground, knocked out. My girlfriend just takes my hand and says, "Nope, you just keep walking." So I know how some people are. As he lay on the street, most simply passed. Okay. So I understand the feeling of people who get injured on the road and are left alone, said Viet, who hails from the Nam Dam province. I am determined not to leave anyone uncared for if they get into a road accident. Wow, looks like he started quite a few people too. Look at that. With just the basic first aid skills and enthusiasm, after 2 years of Hanoi, he has helped about 100 people who were victims of traffic accidents but ignored by other commuters. A little over 6 months ago, he founded an Angels First Aid Rescue Team with 4 other motorist riders. Today, his team is more than 30 members made up of ride-hailing staff, delivery drivers, and street hawkers. I'm not really sure what a street hawker is, but again, more for Viet and all right. But when the roads are being such a dangerous place, there is always room for more. He added, there were so many cases where the victim still had a chance to survive if they got the basic medical treatment right after the accident. You know, if we go a little further back, Tet holidays when it was in Vietnam, there was one big accident where I don't know if it was a bus or a truck, but basically it was kids on the countryside were walking on the road and they were hit by the vehicle, and the vehicle just kept going. And those kids died hours later on the street because nobody helped them. But it made the newspaper the next day or two. With most of his team members lacking in basic medical skills, Viet has started hosting first aid courses, but his organization is financially stretched due to the cost of equipment. Financial issues is really a challenge, he said. Every member uses their own money to buy medical supplies and other necessary first aid equipment. Before the new drink driving laws came into effect, the number of accidents involving alcohol were high, and it made things really difficult. Yeah, like I guess around January, new laws took effect, and it was really harsh that they couldn't sell like alcohol at street not bars, but like street gatherings where people would watch football on the street. And this was very popular in Vietnam. So I noticed afterwards no one would go outside to watch these games. They would just stay at home and watch them. But now that the new rule is up, the number has halved and our spending on medical supplies is obviously less. According to the National Traffic Safety Committee, in 2019, there were more than 17,000 recorded traffic accidents nationwide, and the injured about 13,000 people were killed. Hanoi Traffic Safety Committee reported that their first 9 months of 2019 there were 950 accidents and 375 people were injured, more than 600 people. The Angel team on the night shift. Well, there you go. At least they're practicing safety. With the figure so high, Viet knows that he and his fellow angels have a tough task ahead. He said, "Sometimes I will get a call at midnight if the victim is in another area. I will inform another team leaders to go there. If an accident happened near where I am and the victim's injuries are too severe and the accident's location does not have many of the people passing by, I will go and support the team members and keep my team's eye on the victim situation. Through this activity, I want to spread community awareness of helping each other between the Vietnamese people and between the Vietnamese society. I also want to send our team spirit that regardless of occupation, we encourage everyone who is working on the road to help injured drivers with just basic medical knowledge so there are no more cases of injured people being left alone." I think some people are afraid of hit and run too. But my question for you, do you have a group of something like this that will travel either A, with hit and runs, or better yet, what do you do if you have somebody who drinks too much and needs a ride home? I know in my day we had designated drivers, but that's not always happening nowadays. So what do you do? How do you either help or how do you get home if you've had too much to drink or your transportation is not there? Please leave your comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Hi. The small clip you saw was brought to you by Loyal World News. If you like what you saw, you should subscribe and look up my daily Loyal World News report for its full version. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, prefer to be on the road, I also have a podcast in every full-length video I put up.